and the
Mm-hmm.
town was going to die, become a ghost town. It's still prospered,
Mm-hmm.
but that's the coal industry.
Yeah.
They knew back then, and what is that? That's like 15 years ago
Mm-hmm.
that they were like, this is kind of, we're done with this.
Yeah.
And I think there's still 2 plants around there, but there's like 5. So
Mm-hmm.
3 of them were shut down because they're not efficient.
Yeah.
Well, they are.
You don't understand what. I mean, obviously, I don't understand nuclear energy.
What? It's not
But
part of the Blue Belt curriculum.
but it's like, how come we don't talk about it more? I mean, there's a couple obvious things. People are like scared of it,
Yep.
but I mean, if you want to say you look at the numbers and you look at the statistics, it's safe. Like it's even the disasters that have happened, like they're relatively tame and safe. Like they're blown up by the media in terms of the effect that they've had on the world. Like when you look at the actual radiation numbers that come out of Fukushima, it's a fraction of what the media espouses that it was going to happen. Tuna fish aren't just like growing 5 heads and washing up on shore in California. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. It's 2 hours now, by the way.
All right.
Yeah.
What are we going to? 2.5? Just over.
Just wrap it up with this subject, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, I think nuclear. It's gotten such a bad publicity, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. I think I actually saw something and it was going along the lines of energy,
Mm-hmm.
like wind energy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like they had that helicopter trying to de-ice these windmills.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, we're using fossil fuels to
Exactly
fuel that
what I was just
helicopter that's built from fossil fuels and all this other stuff to de-ice this thing. How much are we really saving?
Dude, well, it's funny. You're using energy to create renewable energy to store it in a really inefficient way. Like batteries are a really inefficient way to store stuff. So with solar power, I mean, it's extremely inefficient and resource intensive. And it's kind of like an oxymoron. It's like we're using all of this energy to create sources of green energy, and then we still have to actually pull that green energy out, and none of it is truly sustainable. That's what I mean about nuclear energy. Like it uses no carbon emissions from nuclear energy.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't produce carbon.
It does produce nuclear waste, though, in some, and that stays essentially forever.
Yeah, but so, what's the? I guess what I'm at. We're gonna have to get a nuclear physicist in here.
Yeah.
What's the trade off? You know what I mean? What's a greater trade off? Like if you were to do the numbers, is nuclear more or less damaging to the environment? And on top of that, when you look at like the carbon emissions thing, like from carbon dioxide going up, people were saying plant life's going to die and all this. But from everything because I do my fair share of reading on this subject, there's more places in the world that are sprouting up with more green life than before. There's more plant life prospering now because of the rise in carbon dioxide.
Well,
so what's the
plants feed off of carbon dioxide?
Exactly.
They feed off it.
Isn't it funny though that you saying that makes you sound like a conspiracy theorist?
100%. But you look at the science that a lot of people don't want to look at, and you're like, oh, that's what they don't feed off of oxygen.
Yeah.
They release oxygen, and that's good for us.
Yeah.
But they feed off of the emissions side of it. That's like a lot of people, like all these emission standards for automobiles and stuff like that. I'm a mechanic. I'm right into that kind of stuff. I need to understand it. But like, the old way to like commit suicide, it was take the exhaust and run into a lot of these newer vehicles, you would die of starvation before you would ever die of any kind of emissions from a newer vehicle. Older vehicles, 100%, those are garbage. They're not running efficiently at all.
Yeah.
But any kind of newer vehicle, like 10 years or newer, you're never going to die from it. You're going to die from starvation because they run so clean. They're putting out essentially oxygen and a little bit of water because of the.
You talk about like diesels with DEF fluid and stuff like that.
Diesels with DEF fluid. Diesels is a different. I'm talking about the gas side of things.
Okay.
Diesels, they run off of what, like trade you call dirty fuel.
Hmm.
Diesel's not
What does DEF fluid do?
DEF fluid kind it reacts with a lot of the particulates that come through because a diesel is it's not you don't provide a spark,
Yeah.
right? It's a compression based form of ignition, and so piston comes up and it creates such a volatile chamber that it combusts off of that alone,
Hmm.
and it does leave a few more exhaust fumes through it, and that's why you get those big black clouds of smoke. But that's mostly carbon coming out of that, right? That's
Hmm.
like carbon smoke.
Hmm.
It's when so the DEF it kind of neutralizes that with the urea and the different components within
Hmm.
DEF. Um, it's it really does feel like a band-aid
Yeah, over a bigger
on top.
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the diesel, and like you see small engine diesel like in cars like in Europe, amazing.
Hmm.
They're amazingly efficient. Not Volkswagen, obviously. They just skew the system.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the big trucks, you have to have so much to push them through.
Yeah.
So a little
Huh.
bit less efficient. But yeah, ideally, plants like carbon.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, it's humans cutting down rainforests that I think is the biggest cause of that.
Hmm.
That's another topic right there.
That's for making Twinkies, though.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's probably long enough for this time.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
so.
it's a good first one.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening.
Until next time.
Bye bye. Alrighty. Thank you everybody for listening. And this is really more just a practice to get things going and learn how to use the equipment and talk some shit. And hopefully we can make things more interesting in the future. Thank you very much and have a good day.